What are the junior web development projects that will actually get you hired? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Yet, I feel like most people waste so much time on this. My name is Alex, and I'm a senior web developer with 6 years of experience. And I'm currently coaching aspiring developers to get their dream job fast. In this video, I will show you the one and only project to build that will get you hired. I will show you what to include, which technologies to use, and the exact requirements. Plus, I will show you some good and bad examples of a portfolio website that you can just copy. Let's get to it. This is gonna be the architecture that you're gonna be looking for. It's gonna have one front end, one back end, and one database. And this assumes that we are gonna build this only in JavaScript. And I do recommend having only JavaScript because this will make the job easier. You're only learning one language and you're mastering only one language. And as a junior, I see also other people are learning two languages, and this is not necessary. So why this project will help you get hired is because it will have a modern stack which uses current industry standard, in-demand technologies, complex architecture, shows understanding of full stack web development, a real world application which solves actual business problems, scalable design, which demonstrates knowledge of best practices, security focus, which shows awareness of security concerns, which are in the form of user roles, hashed passwords, etc. And last but not least is performance optimization, which is in the form of cache implementation, such as local storage and Redis, and optimization techniques such as lazy loading. Going into the tech stack, we're gonna have one front end, which uses one modern framework in the form of React, Vue, Svelte, or Angular, and I recommend having only one. It will use TypeScript for type safety, basic state management in the form of Tanstack query, which is recommended, or a Redux. Redux is more widely used, but Tanstack is more modern. Of course, you must have also HTML and CSS fundamentals. It's good to use one component library such as Material UI, Tailwind, or Bootstrap, which is a Node component library, but still widely used in other projects. As for the backend, we're gonna have one backend framework in the form of Express.js or Nest.js, again with TypeScript. We're gonna have a database connection. We're gonna have authentication and authorization and the CRUD operations. As for the database, we're gonna have only one type of a database, which is MongoDB or Postgres, and we're gonna have basic queries and relationships. Moving on to essential features. As for front-end must-haves, we must have a user interface, which includes a responsive design, a mobile-friendly or mobile-first, loading states, error handling, basic animations, clear navigation. Moving on to forms, we're gonna have input validations, error messages, and user feedback in the form of changing color, such as red. And last but not least is state management, which uses Tanstack query for API calls, loading error states, and basic caching. And Redux also comes here into play. Backend must-haves, we must have an authentication, which should implement JWT, password hashing, and protected routes. It must include a user management in the form of registration and login, role-based access, such as admin and user, and user profiles with user data. And the API must have CRUD operations, create, write, update, delete, error handling, and basic input validations. So we are gonna have both front-end and back-end validations. This is really important. As for security fundamentals, we already mentioned them, but I will mention them again. Secure password handling, JWT authentication, role-based access, and input validation. The basic security includes HTTPS, protected routes, and data validation. I mentioned them, but I will stress them again. As for performance basics, we will have simple caching, like local storage usage, basic API caching, response optimization. As for code organization, it's gonna be lazy loading, clean component structure, and efficient data fetching. Nice to have features will be real-time updates, such as basic WebSocket implementation or like live notifications and chat. As for the documentation, it's good to have a clear README, which includes everything about the project, how to run it, how to update dependencies and so on. It's good to also have an API endpoints documentation with open API and setup instructions. As for extra features, you can also add basic search functionality, file uploads and user preferences. For best practices, you must ensure a code quality, which should be clean and readable code, meaningful variable names, proper commenting, consistent formatting, and again error handling. As for Git, you should regularly commit. You should have clear commit messages, feature branches, and clean repository. This will make you stand out from the rest, and of course I recommend your project to be deployed on Git and to be accessible online. As for project organization, you should have a logical folder structure, component reusability, modular code, and clear documentation. What employers look for? As for technical skills, I mentioned before, but I'll mention it again: clean working code, problem-solving ability, understanding of basics, and attention to detail. As for the soft skills, you would want to present yourself in the best possible way. You want to show that you are willing to learn, you document your code, you can explain it really well, and as I mentioned, you should be looking professional in these interviews when you get to that stage. And your portfolio is also a reflection of you. So if I see a bad portfolio, then I know that this guy doesn't have attention to detail. The implementation tips: start with core features, test thoroughly, keep it simple but professional, focus on code quality and document your work. Things to avoid: overcomplicated solutions, unfinished features, copy-pasted code that you don't understand, poor error handling, and missing documentation. Remember, quality over quantity, understanding over implementation, working feature over partial features, clean code over clever code, basic security over advanced features. This project structure will demonstrate fundamental coding skills, modern technology understanding, security awareness, professional approach, and learning capability. Here are some project ideas, such as a task manager, which can include some features like user authentication, CRUD for tasks, categories and tags, basic search, user dashboard. A second project idea would be blog platform, which features will include user posts, comments, basic editor, image uploads, user profiles. Another project idea is an e-commerce store, which can include product catalog, shopping cart, user accounts, order history, and a basic checkout. Just basically have a basic Shopify website, but build it with custom code. As for the portfolio project, you can do something similar to Twitter. You can basically go ahead and create a login with a feed where here you can post something. You don't have to include all of these features, but you can basically have multiple users, one unified feed, and you can click on a user, you can see what he posted. Don't include even the following because this is a really advanced feature, but just make it with consistent styles, good looking, and it must include all of the other requirements mentioned. And you see here, this was saved, even though I clicked here and I went back. This here is saved, right? This is like one of the optimizations that I talked about. This is really impressive. And this is everything you need to know to build your portfolio website and portfolio project to get you hired. Last but not least is focus on making everything work perfectly rather than implementing many features. A well-executed simple project is more impressive than a complex but buggy one, okay? And here I would have to mention in the next video, I will review a project that has been sent to me by one of my students and I will basically break it down and I will tell you exactly what he needs to fix in order for this project to be even better. And if you want me to review your own portfolio project, I will put a link down below where you can book a call with me for 15 minutes and we can take a look at your project, so you're one step closer to landing that dream job. As I promised in the beginning of the video, I will show you some portfolio websites. Here we have a really ugly portfolio website that basically won't get you hired, even the opposite. If I see this somewhere on the CV, doesn't matter if your resume is good, your LinkedIn looks really good. Even if you're working 3 years in the industry, I would rather not have this up and running. I would just remove this. Moving on to a better example, look at this one. Absolutely beautiful. Consistent styles, simple, not so many flashy colors, good graphics. You also have some basic animations, good UI UX. And also this one here from Laszlo, he has a lot of experience, and you see that this is presented in the best possible way. He has his branding colors, animations, not so much information here, everything linked here, so I can go and check it out. A nice carousel with good animations, just simple design. It doesn't have to be fancy. And here we have the projects, and this is just like basic animations, but they are doing the job perfectly. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned before, if you would like to get your portfolio reviewed by me personally, I would love to help you out. Beneath this video, there is a link and you can book a short 15-minute call with me for free. We will take a look at your portfolio and I will tell you all of the mistakes you are making before you are even applying for jobs. After this review, hopefully you're more confident to go ahead and apply for jobs. This way, you would be one step closer to landing your dream tech job. See you.